Hello everyone. How are you? Can you hear me? Just let me make sure that this is working. Today's live is going to be in English, so yeah, it is working. I can hear myself. Can you hear me? Just let me make sure that this is working. Today, I think you heard me twice. Oh well. So it is working. Today, I want to talk to you about a specific topic that a few of my students have been asking me. Actually, there's a post we made about a week ago or something. So, this is for me to develop what I mean with those myths. The post is about the myths when you are learning English or actually any other language that is not your native language, your mother tongue. So just to clarify all this, which I think it's very interesting. But before I also start telling you about the reason, my opinion is that, let me tell you a little bit about myself, because I think it will give you like, or I'm going to try to explain my perspective. In the first place, I am Mexican. And well, for those who don't know me, by the way, my name is Antonio. I am Antonio Franco. And I am Mexican, but I am living in the USA. I was an English teacher in Mexico for a long time. You have to guess how long. And I've been an English teacher here in New York for a very good amount of time as well, about 3 years now. And many people actually wonder, many people living in Latin America, they wonder how come I teach English in the USA. I mean, isn't it like strange? Doesn't uh, everyone speak English here in the USA? Well, no, that's something that I think has to change a little bit in perspective, because even if we live in the USA, you have to know that the Latin community, or not only the Latin community, the immigrant community, and immigrant, I mean anyone who has moved from a different country to this country or any other country. The word immigrant refers simply to that, no other connotation. There are lots of immigrants, people who were born in another country, maybe in Asia, in Europe, a country, maybe a different country from the UK, or well, I mean England, Northern Ireland, and all those countries where they speak English. But well, they were born in those countries in Latin America, for example, and they moved to this country, to the USA. So the immigrant community is huge here. That's why I always say, especially this city, New York, is a multicultural place. Actually, I have to tell you that we are located next to the neighborhood which is considered the most multicultural in all the USA. If you Google Jackson Heights, that's Jackson, and for Jackson, and Heights, Heights, for Heights, Jackson Heights, you're gonna find that it's a multicultural community. Actually, I was telling you, the most multicultural neighborhood in the USA, in all the country. So we are next to them, and yeah, there's the immigrant community over there, and also in the place where we are located, is really diverse. So no, not everyone speaks English in the USA. So those are my students. Many people from these countries are my students. So, well, this conception, this idea, probably, or these ideas, the ones that I'm going to discuss in this very short live, come from this perspective. Okay, so let's start. I was telling you, I want to talk to you about these myths about learning English. Okay, you can omit the subtitle right now. What I want to discuss today, because this is part one. Next week I'll talk about the other myths that I consider to be myth. The first one The first of these two is you can learn English as if you were a kid. Well, something else that I have to tell you about myself is that I am a psychologist. I have a major in psychology, and my I have some studies related to the development of language in little kids. Kids, I mean, from 6 months old to 3 years old. So it is like it is actually known by many, many people all over the world. It's been known for many years that kids or babies or infants, whatever you want to call them, they have a different set of strategies that they use when they are learning a language from the set of strategies we use as adults. So, just to tell you very, very briefly what I mean, for example, is that an accent. People are sometimes worried about the accent that they have when they learn a second language, specifically in this case, when they are learning English. Well, in these studies, it is evident that if you learned or you started to learn a second language after puberty, which means maybe 9 years old or 10 years old, it's very difficult that you get rid of your accent. It's not impossible, but you have to work harder than if you started learning your second language before puberty. So, well, that's only one thing that is different from kids to adults. So, in here, what I have is as an explanation, I have learning a language is difficult, but it comes natural to kids. Yes, because they use different strategies than adults use, and then adults need different strategies. Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. And well, this other part is for us to help you. Certified teachers are trained in second language teaching strategies, so it's not the same teaching a kid than teaching an adult. Most of the time, the problem is that adults need explanations. Adults often want to know why it is said the way it is said, whereas a kid, most of the time, they don't really care. They are like, okay, you say it like that, okay, I'll say it like that. There's no reason to doubt that what you are saying is wrong, whereas adults, they have lots of they doubt most of the time what the teacher is saying, which is not bad, that's good, but that's the reason that certified teachers have to have the answers for those questions. Okay, so that's a big difference. So in my opinion, in my personal experience, after 15 years of teaching English to adults, I know that adults need explanations. Kids don't need explanations. Okay, so that's a big difference. And well, then I also have this other one. You have to sound like a native speaker. That's the other myth that I want to discuss with you tonight. This is a very a very common misconception about learning English. Particularly, you have to sound, it sounds like an obligation. If you want to sound like a native speaker, it's okay. You can work hard to get it. You can study phonetics. You can study the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, to improve your pronunciation. You can do that. I'm not saying it's bad, but what I'm saying is that not everyone has to sound like a native speaker. In here, for example, I wrote to you, there are a lot of varieties of English. When you say native speaker, you mean native speaker from California, because a native speaker from California speaks differently than a Brooklyn, for example, native speaker. Brooklyn is just like next door to us, so we know they speak differently. And then a Welsh native speaker, I was telling you, people who were born, for example, in Scotland, Wales is in Scotland, they have a different accent, they have a different pronunciation. so most of the time they use the same words. I'm not saying it's different English. They use the same words, but they pronounce them differently. It's very similar to the case we have in Spanish, and I'm talking about Spanish because Spanish is the language I speak. I was telling you, here in New York, there's lots of people from different countries, from different Latin American countries, and Colombian people speak differently from Mexican people than from Peruvian people, than different from where else, from Chilean people, so Argentinian people, for example. I have to tell you that having students from these countries, has made me learn more Spanish than I knew when I first came here to this country. So yeah, I've understood, I've realized that Spanish is very varied. There's lots of different Spanishes, if we can call them like that. So it's very similar to to English in that sense. You don't have to, if you want to sound like a native speaker, what I mean is, what kind of native speaker? Where is this native speaker in your head from? Um, if you want to go to the USA, well, there are lots of regions in the USA. If you want to go to England, there's lots of regions in England. Actually, every accent has a different name. So it's very difficult to cover all of the accents, for example, in a course. You're not going to find that. If you have a native English teacher, this native English teacher probably will teach you how to speak the way he speaks in the place where he was born. So it's not bad again, but it's not an obligation that you force yourself to sound to the way your native English teacher speaks, or she. It's just something that you may want to do, but not an obligation. Okay. And well, these are the two myths that I wanted to discuss with you. You can learn English as if you were a kid, and you have to sound like a native speaker. For me, again, in my opinion, for Antonio, these are myths that you don't have to believe, that you have to try to overcome, and practice English and learn English in the most comfortable way that you can find. Okay, so I hope this helps a little. Again, it's from my perspective, this, because we